Hello, everyone. I just recently launched a new podcast called the Good Morning Shift Podcast. It is a daily podcast where I present a quote, the meaning behind the quote, a couple of examples, and how to implement it into your life. I give some examples of ways that that quote has impacted me, and then I give you some action items behind that. Just a couple minutes, 2, 3 minutes or so of a daily podcast called the Good Morning Shift Podcast. So, what I'm going to do right now is actually record one of the episodes, and here it goes. So what you don't see is I've got my microphone, my headset, and then my mixer right in front of me. And this is the first time I'm doing it with an intro music. So here goes. Let me get things ready. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Good Morning Shift Podcast. I'm your host, Rohit Rohila, and today's quote comes from the world-renowned professional speaker, Zig Ziglar. Zig has played a huge role in my life, and one of his quotes really spoke a lot to me, and I want to share that with you today. And that is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Again, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And what I love about this quote is most people, what they'll do is they will wait for the ideal circumstance to happen. They have to know everything inside out. They're waiting for the perfect condition to start something. But what this does is this delays your progress. Starting imperfectly is the only way to get anywhere. Now, a perfect example of this is I have now been podcasting for over 10 years. And the very first time I started a podcast was the GYST podcast. And my co-hosts at the time were Kyle Reed, Christian Cloud, and we just got together in an empty room that I had at my place. We hit the record button, just had the microphone in the middle, and just started talking. We didn't have anything clean. We didn't have anything planned out. You can even hear us on the microphone kind of stumbling, not even knowing if it was recording at the time. So we were all over the place. But here it is 10 years later, and that podcast is still going strong. We've gone from having just that single microphone to now headsets, professional microphones, professional mixers, intro audio, outro audio, just everything. It's a worldwide podcast now. And had I waited until I had all the right equipment, until I knew how to script things out, until I knew the right music, until we had all that fleshed out, I wouldn't have ever started. Would have just talked myself out of it, continuing the thought of, I don't know what I'm doing, so I should learn everything inside out. But that's not how things work. You have to start somewhere. And the call to action today is start something that you've been wanting to do for a while, even if it's messy. One of the things that Christian said is if you can't look back at something that you were once proud of and be embarrassed, that means you haven't grown. And the same thing happens with life. If there are things that you say you want to do, and you keep saying you want to do it, but you're waiting for this or you're waiting for that, it's never going to happen. But if you just start somewhere, you're going to be miles ahead of where you would be had you waited for that ideal time, because the ideal time doesn't exist. Ask any parent. They'll tell you that there is no right time to have a kid. It just happens, and then you learn as you go along. And the same thing is true with many aspects of our lives. So remember this quote by Zig Ziglar: you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Keep that in mind and have a great day. We'll catch you tomorrow. There we go. So I just recorded a quick episode. As you can hear, I stumbled on my words. It wasn't polished out. It's a perfect example of this quote. You don't have to be perfect to just start something. And here's the thing. I was able to do that. That episode was 3 minutes and 31 seconds, right? I was able to quickly get it done. I didn't even have to think about it. But I didn't start out this way. It took me 10 years to get here. And there are things that I could do. I can absolutely take that episode, I can polish it up, I can clean out the ums, the uhs, all that kind of stuff, no problem, and make myself sound like a professional. I can run it through an AI program that'll do it in 30 seconds or less. But I don't want to. And the reason I don't want to is relatability. If I tell you you don't have to be perfect in order to start something, and I sound perfect, guess what? We're no longer relatable. But if you can hear that I'm just doing things, if you can hear it in my voice, if you can see me stumbling, and you might have even looked around. Sometimes I'm looking over here, sometimes I'm looking over here. That's because in front of me is my computer, and I've got my rough outline of a script right here. I've got the intro right here. Even saying my name, I've got that written down. These are tricks that you learn by doing things over and over again. So don't expect perfection. And here's the thing, and this is key. If you are wanting to start something and you just do it and say it's a mess, right? One, how much will you have learned from it? Two, you're one step closer to taking action towards your dreams. And three, this is the big thing, the third thing, you showed courage. You're one step ahead of all your friends who wish that they could do the same thing but haven't. And so just start. You have permission to fail. That's one of the main things that I talk about when I'm coaching someone, is the freedom of having permission to fail. Fail as often as you can. And that way you're just going to get better and better. You're learning ways not to do it. You're learning ways on how you can make small tweaks to get better. But by sitting around waiting for the perfect time, by learning more, by researching more, by memorizing your scripts, all that kind of stuff, no matter what it is you're trying to do, it's never going to get there. And what you're doing is you're robbing yourself of what you could be. So just a quick little video. Just wanted to say thank you. Again, the Good Morning Shift podcast. It's available on all the podcasting platforms. Or if you have Alexa, just say, Alexa, play the Good Morning Shift podcast. Talk to you soon. Thank you.